Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Florencia, and something you might not know about me is that I was born and raised and spent the first 40 years of my life in Latin America. But 4 years ago, I moved to Europe, and this is my first time back in a Latin American stage in 4 years, and it feels good. Feels really good. I should not be here, by the way, because this was the 1 month in the year that me and my team had agreed on no traveling Florencia. But then the Mind Valley team said, do you know where AFES is happening? And I said, no. And they said, Colombia. And I heard, Colombia. And I could feel my hips going, Shakira, Shakira. So here I am to talk about the one topic that is most close to my heart right now and I feel most passionate about, which is winning is a mindset. And today we're going to unlock 4 keys to produce magical results in our lives. Are you ready? Yes. Let's pretend we're Latin for a minute. Let me ask again. Are we ready? Yes. Yeah, that feels better. And I'm going to start by sharing the story of a young boy with a big dream. This boy, he pretty much dreamed about playing football his entire life. And he got pretty good at it. He started playing and practicing. And so his parents thought, the boy is good. Let's go and take him for a tryout in one of the big clubs. And so they take him, and there's a bunch of guys there who are deciding which kid they're going to sign and which kid they're not going to sign. And so when they look at him, they think, he is good, but what is wrong with him? He's too small. Let's get him checked with the doctors. And so they get him checked. And yes, in fact, he did have a problem, and not a small problem if you want to be a football player. He had a growth hormone deficiency problem. In essence, he was born with a problem that would not allow his body to grow. And so these people who are deciding who they're going to sign, they look at him and they go, we're not signing a kid who was born broken. Have you ever felt broken before? Have you ever felt, I'm not good enough, I'm not talented enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not healthy enough, I'm not sexy enough, there's something wrong with me? Well, this kid, he was born with a broken body, but he was definitely not born with a broken mindset. And so he said, I'm going to keep dreaming. I'm going to keep believing. And I will do whatever it takes to make this dream come true. Even if they say it is impossible, that it is physically impossible. Whatever it takes. And if that means that every day I have to stick a needle in my leg just to see if my body will want to grow, I will do that. And he kept going, and he kept dreaming. And at one point he said, yes, I'm not as tall as the rest, I'm not as strong as the rest, I will just have to learn how to play football in a different way. And this boy, who was nicknamed La Pulga in his home country, which in English means the flea, because of how tiny he was, became the biggest player of all times. Because this is the true story of Lionel Messi. Yes, it is, and you can give him a hand. The guy who created history in football. The guy who just won a World Cup at age 35 after trying for 16 years. The guy who was named 7 times best player in the world in 3 different decades, which says a lot about him. And once he was asked, did you ever dream about this? And he said, I've been dreaming about this big dream my entire life. And the reason I admire this guy so much, it's not because of how well he plays football, and it's not because we were both born in the same country, but it is because of his extraordinary talent to take a problem. Just imagine wanting to play football and being born with that problem. He took a problem, transformed it into an opportunity using his mindset. And maybe you're looking at this and you think, cool story, Florencia, but just in case you didn't notice, I am no Lionel Messi. I'm not only... let's see, how many of you are elite athletes? Raise your hands. Not many. Well, winning is not... A few, we do have a few. But winning is not just for athletes. And we do have something in common with athletes. The distance between an elite athlete and a trophy is the exact same distance between you and your next big dream. This distance, the distance between our ears, it's in our mindset. And today we will see 4 practical ways to unlock crazy possibilities in our lives. So, step number 1, key number 1, have big dreams. Did you know that most people do not dream big enough? Even the ones who think they're dreaming big enough, they don't. Why do I know this? Because for many years, I coach elite athletes, people who win World Cups, people who, they go for big things. When you talk to them in private, they're scared of dreaming big. I coach celebrities for many years. People who have fame, fortune, good looks, they have everything. You talk to them in private, they're scared of going big. Why do I know this? And this one might surprise you, because I teach this. About a year ago, I was talking with my son, my 10-year-old son, about having big dreams, and so the power of having a big, scary dream. And so he looks at me and he goes, so Mom, what's your next big dream? And I say, well, I'm working on a new book. And he goes, oh, another book? I go, well, honey, writing a book is a pretty big deal, I goes, yeah, Mom, but you said that dreams are supposed to be scary and exciting, and you've been doing that for many years. That's not scary for you. And I go, well, yeah, I'm also planning on growing the business. And he goes, Mom, you're so boring. I want something scary and exciting. And so I look at him and I say, well, okay, listen, my boring job pays the bills, takes you on vacation, it's getting late, time to take a shower, go to bed. But that night, as I go to bed, it dawns on me, the kid was right. I was teaching this, and it had been a long time since I had my own big, scary dream. It had been a long time. And so I realized that I was not the same Florencia I was 15 years ago. You see, at the beginning of my journey, I was a go-getter. I was a bold dreamer. I was a girl who would knock on every door, who would get 100 no's until I got a yes. I would take risks. I would fail. I would then try again. But at one point, my business grew. I became more well-known. My books became bestsellers, whatever. And at one point, I said, let's take things a little bit more cautiously, And so I went from playing to win to playing not to lose. And let me show you now what playing not to lose looks like. So playing not to lose, in essence, is you keep on doing what you know how to do. So in essence, what you do is you avoid taking risks. And by avoid taking risks, you also avoid failure. And by avoiding failure, I avoid feeling dumb. And by avoid feeling dumb, in some point, I could feel safe. But do you sense a problem here? I could feel safe, but I was not growing. I was not growing anymore. Have you ever, let's do a quick thing. Close your eyes for a moment. It's a quick show of hands. Nobody will see except me, so you can be brutally honest. Raise your hand if you have not had a big, scary dream for a long time. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you do have a big, scary dream, but it's so far away that you feel completely disconnected from it. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you deeply feel that you could be playing a bigger game than the one you're playing. Raise your hand. All right. Now you can open your eyes. And let me just tell you something. We're all together here. If you raise your hand, you're in the right place. If you do not raise your hand, you're in the right place. You know why? Because we all human beings have one thing in common. We all want to live the highest and the truest expression of ourselves. And so no matter where you are in your life right now, we all have a next level. Yet sometimes we don't even know what that next level looks like. A while ago, I was coaching a very famous athlete, very famous one, top of the game. He comes to me and he says, I have a problem. And I say, what's that? And he says, I have not won a Grand Slam in 2 years, and it's getting on me. And so I look at him and I say, so what's your big dream? And he says, well, what do you mean? I want to go back to playing well. I want to go back to my level. And I said, that's all? Come on, dream bigger. What's your dream? He says, well, I would like to win a Grand Slam this year. Okay, how fast do you want that to happen? Well, if it happens within 1 year, I'd be happy. What is the fastest you want that to happen? He says, well, the US Open is happening within 5 weeks. That would be nice. And so I look at him and I ask him, can you allow yourself to dream about winning the US Open in 5 weeks? He goes, heck yeah. What do you think happened in 5 weeks? Did he win? Yes, he did win. Now here's the interesting part, because he won the US Open in 5 weeks, but did his level of talent change in 5 weeks? Yes or no? No. Did his opponent's level of talent had drastically dropped in 5 weeks? Yes or no? No. The only thing that changed was his mindset. He set his mind to believe that that big dream was possible. And so he did it, and it came true. And by the way, he won 3 out of the 5 Grand Slams that year. And so now, I want you to think about what your next big dream is. And in a moment, I will have you write it down in one short, powerful sentence. But I want you to consider 2 aspects before you write. First one is, can you make it bigger? Can you make it bigger? Bigger might be adding a 0 to your revenue goal. Bigger could be if your goal is, or your dream is to write a book, become international bestseller, or take your business across the border, whatever that is. Can you make it bigger? And the second aspect to consider is, can you make it faster? The time we give ourselves to do something is usually the time it takes us to do it. So can you make it bigger in size? Can you make it shorter in time? And now I'll give you a minute, write it down. One powerful sentence. My next big dream is, it could be personal, professional, whatever you want to dream about, just write it down. All right. So, key number 1, have big dreams. And remember, we all tend to dream smaller, and we all tend to give ourselves too much time to achieve them. So go bigger, go faster. Step number 2 is big words. What do I mean by big words? The words we speak create realities. Do we know this? Yes or no? Yes. Because they change our subconscious mind, they produce a change in reality. Is that true or not? Yes. Okay, now, what are the 2 most powerful words according to research? I am. In Spanish, yo soy. In French, je suis. In Italian, io sono. In Chinese, I have no idea. But what I do know, oh, hi. Oh, hi. We always learn something new. Thank you. What I do know is that the 2 most powerful words, according to research, are I am, because whatever we say after them shapes our destiny. Why? Because our subconscious mind, whenever we say I am, takes us at a command. And this is the thing. I know you all know this. We all know, right? Yet study after study shows that we don't practice it. We don't. Quick quiz again. How many thoughts do we have per day? There's a debate, but a minimum of 50,000, right? How many and what percentage of those thoughts are negative? 80%. And about those 80%, how many are about our own selves? Most of them. 80% our self-talk is negative. So, this is stressful, right? Let me just do something to de-stress for a second. No? What? Why not? Not good for me? How do you know? There's research. There's research that shows what? That this is bad for you. We've all seen the horror photos, right? I wish we had horror photos that showed what our negative, crappy self-talk does to us. What if we had a horror photo that showed what our negative self-talk does to our self-esteem, to our mental health, and to our results? Because maybe just maybe, if we had the horror photos, we would decide that doing this is just as toxic as doing this. And we would quit them both in a second. Now, we know this, we don't practice it. We think that positive self-talk is, it's kind of like a feel-good little thing that doesn't really change anything, right? Well, self-talk is the fastest way to produce a self-fulfilling prophecy on a neurobiological level. And that's